All right, hello Evelings. I have some offerings for you today on the PvP front. Now I need to start this video off with a disclaimer. I am in no way a PvP expert. All right, let me just say that right off the bat. I get overwhelmed in battle as easy as anybody else does. I'm not going to pretend that I'm an amazing pilot or anything like that. But I do know what I like, and I like the changes to the Exequror Navy issue that just happened. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Navy issue versions of ships, they're pretty interesting, I think, especially when you realize that the Exequror, the regular one, not the Navy issue, is a logistics boat, which means it heals for some reason. We need to talk about this whole thing. Like, logistics is moving stuff around, not healing people, but whatever. We could call them priest ships for all I care, but the fact that they're called Logi are really dumb. Anyway, we'll get into that in another video. Maybe I'll have a rant video about all my beefs with Eve. But anyway, the Navy version of the Exequror, let's try saying that again. The Navy version of the Exequror does not heal anybody. It hurts them with bullets. So let's take a look at the bonuses. So the Galente Cruiser bonus. You should definitely be Galente Cruiser 5 before you fly one of these bad boys. They're kind of expensive, and 25% bonus to medium hybrid turret damage per level is disgusting. So at level 5, your turrets are doing 125% of normal damage, which is ridiculous. 10% bonus to the fall off. We don't super much care about that, but hey, it doesn't hurt. And the new bonus that they gave this thing is 15% reduction in armor plate mass penalty. So armor plates are these looking dudes down here. They give you more armor hit points over here, and usually they come with the drawback of being freaking gigantic and slowing you down and making you a big slug, especially if you fit them on like a cruiser or something. Like the ENI is a cruiser, right? And putting a 1600 plate, which is usually like kind of a battle cruiser battleship plate, on one of these things usually just turns it into a big giant slow thing. But with that, the attribute, the mass edition, is normally adds almost 4 million kilograms, however many, I don't know, somebody do the math, that's a lot. But with the bonuses from Galente Cruiser and and all that stuff, and I have some armor layering skills, which must let's see what armor layering does. I could even get one more level. 5% reduction on the mass penalty, so this could even be a little bit more agile. But with that, let's take a look at this for a second. So that brings it down to only 750,000 kilograms. Let's see which plate has that mass. So let's go in here and let's put everything in a compare window. Let's put the 100 in there. Let's put the 200s. Whoops. Oh, it worked. Let's put the 400s. Let's put the 800s. So what's their mass? Mass addition. So it almost makes it a 400 mil plate. Like it's about half of an 800 plate, which you'd think would be a 400, but no, that don't make no sense, the math. But it's still a very small plate compared to the normal 1600 plate, which is huge. So this implies heavily that they feel that you should probably put a 1600 plate on this thing, because it basically it won't slow it down too much at all, as far as cruisers go. So I put this on the fit right from the start. This was the first thing I popped on there because I knew I wanted it, and I built everything else around it. Okay, so I have 3 different fits today. The first is just a straight up armor buffer Exequror Navy issue. So a buffer fit it doesn't have a repper. So once the enemy chews through all your hit points, that's it, you're dead. Okay, you don't have any way to rep yourself. This is perfect for like fleet work, or if you have some logistics healing ships on the field. They can heal you up pretty nice, but having a big buffer of hit points means that they have a lot longer to lock you up and change to you if you start getting fired on. So it's never a waste, and you end up with pretty good resistances as well. So I put a damage control on because you should always put a damage control. There's just no reason not to, people. And then one of these multi-spectrum energized, because you never know what you're going to come up against. So just having nice percentages across the board is always good for PvP. Like you never know what you're going to get hit by, so you just need to be like on your game. I put a reactive on here. This is changeable. You could, I believe, I can't remember. This fit might be tight enough that you can't double multi it. But the reactive, I always like this guy too. And honestly, it is not a huge deal for your capacitor. As you can see, we're cap stable almost cap stable, even without our Nosferatu, which we'll get to. But the reactive really allows your damage profile or your resist profile to shift with the tide of combat, which I think is really important, especially in an armor buffer build. So I always like these guys. And then a couple mag stabs because DPS is super important. Hang on, let me load my ammo. Speaking of DPS, these mag stabs help push you to about 950 DPS, which is just disgusting. This is actually probably, I don't know, along with the Ashimu, this is probably one of my favorite ships in the game now. Because this amount of DPS with this amount of buffer is gross. So the only thing about this ship as it sits right now is it's pretty slow at just under 2,000 meters per second. So I fit it with double web, and I put a scram on there because you don't want them little fast guys getting away. And you just put the compact Microwarpdrive because it fits, okay? You know, you're not going to be winning any speed races in this thing. Then a small energy Nosferatu, you might as well be draining whatever you're doing because this can help keep you a bit more stable like we saw earlier. 10 points per 2.5 seconds, like that's legit. Like that's a good amount of stuff. You can really help your capacitor that way, and maybe you can fire off a few more bullets and win the fight. So with all of this junk on here, you can still fit a full rack of heavy neutron blasters on here, which, you know, you're going to be decent firing at anything within about 11K. You'll hit it 50% of the time if it's 11K away, and then as you get closer and closer, it reaches 100% within fall-off range. Optimal range, sorry. So if you're about 11K out from something, you'll hit it about half the time. And if you're about 3K out from it, you'll hit it 100% of the time. At least as far as optimal range goes. This has nothing to do with tracking. But the tracking on these heavy neutrons is pretty fast for blasters. And with double webs and a scram, they're not going to be going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I put another Trimark armor pump on just because why not? More armor seems like a thing. Explosive armor reinforcer because this thing has a nasty explosive hole. And then medium ancillary current router, which makes the whole thing fit. So this is what I would call, oh, I put some hobgoblins on there because why not? You could put some other cute little drones, but I like the hobbies because they do lots of damage. Some people have argued that since these blasters do thermal and kinetic damage, it's best to put some other kind of drone in here. But honestly, 5 light drones, whatever. Put some acolytes in it if you're feeling awesome. Or whatever the Minmatar dorks are. The warriors. I've never been a fan of warrior drones, but I see them get run a lot. They're very fast. They're like little frigate hunters. So I don't know. It's only, you know, it's only 95 DPS worth of your stuff. So don't lose sleep over it. You know what I'm saying? And then put some paste in here. So every PvP ship that you ever build should always have nanite paste in the cargo hold. Now, you might remember nanite paste from such things as being used with all these ancillary armor repairers and stuff like that. But it also repairs burned out modules or modules that have heat damage. So in PvP, you're often overheating. And when you overheat these bad boys, we're talking over 1,000 DPS, which is ridiculous. And if you somehow burn them out, yeah, you want to be able to repair them. So just stick a bunch of nanite paste in there. I usually do 200, but I'm sure that's probably too much. It's really hard to know for sure. You just have to feel that out on your own. 200 doesn't seem too bad, you know, whatever. Okay, so that's my first offering. That's the armor buffer fit. Okay, so this just gives you a big butt, and once they chew through your butt, then you're all done. But this is what I would use in a fleet if you have logistics flying with you, because they can catch you with reps and hopefully keep you alive pretty well with a decent resist profile. Here is the weird one. And the big difference is to this is a hull buffer. This goes up by about 6 million ISK over this one or whatever it is. Oh, 8 million more. Well, whatever. This is a straight up hull tank, and you can get a pretty big hull butt on this thing for just a similar price. Now you lose. Here's what you lose. You lose about a little bit of DPS. Now you could do this. So this gives you 45,000 EHP. If you drop down to 37. You can stick a second one of these and be up to about where you were before with the other fit. Okay. It's not, it's not going to be quite the same. It's just not. So, because it's the compact. I had to put the compact on. Maybe if you do this, you can have one regular one. Let's see if it fits. Yeah. Yeah, just barely, right? Now wait, will this fit? Will this fit? Why did I put the compact one in? Okay, so if you have 2 of these, you can do the regular ones. If you want another structure one, I guess you must have to have the compact. Yeah, so I do know what I'm doing. That's good to know, right? Since you're watching my video. Okay, so if you put all the reinforced bulkheads and a damage control and all the medium transverse bulkheads, you can get up to 45,000 EHP. Still almost 800 DPS with double webs and a scram and this Microwarpdrive, and everything's pretty much the same. You lose the Nosferatu, but you just got to be careful. What you gain is about 300 to 400 more milliseconds of speed, because you don't have a big fat armor tank slowing you down. It's not as good for fleet work. This would be more of a solo hunter kind of thing. You're a bit faster, so you can catch a little bit more stuff. And you could put Navy webs on here if you're feeling like a total boss, but this is already 142 mils, so, just be careful. I'm not sure what the prices of the Exequror Navy issue will actually do as time goes on. I'm just lucky to have a few left over, so I don't have to worry about price fluctuations. But that's the structure buffer. You get yourself an abyssal damage control, and you can even make this even tastier, right? Like a nice one of these with some good hull damage resist bonuses and stuff. It can be really nice on a hull tank thing. Not sure you want to waste it on a cruiser size hull, but there's some pretty good, pretty cheap abyssal damage controls out there, because sometimes people don't know what they're worth. And if you slap it on there, your resist can be even higher. You could probably get to 50,000 EHP or maybe even higher. Your job is to blow them up before they blow you up. That's all there is to this fit. Okay. Third fit might be the best. Not sure. But it's pretty much your standard PvP fit. This is the most expensive at 157, but most of that cost comes from the medium ancillary current router. So if you do more compact stuff, you might be able to just keep the one, but with a 2 you're already cutting really close, so I doubt it. You can go down to electron blasters, but I don't know how I feel about that either. There are probably ways to wiggle this fit to make it work, but the main changes to this is that you go down from neutron blasters to ion blasters, meaning you have to get a bit closer before you start really hitting the damages. It's not a lot, but sometimes in close combat, like 500 meters can make all the difference between being able to land your shots and not. So this one still has the fatty 1600 plate and all this stuff that you would expect down here, except I swapped out the reactive hardener for one of these medium ancillary armor reppers. Now if you load this baby with paste, you can get 70 hit points a second off of this bad boy while it's running. The thing is, it takes a lot of cap to do that, so you have to swap out one web for a capacitor booster, which you load with these little batteries. The batteries make it so you can keep on fighting, okay? So this is technically a cap stable fit, quote unquote. You should be able to run everything, and as long as you don't run out of batteries, which you will eventually, because you can only carry so many because they're absolutely gigantic. I don't know why nobody can make small batteries. Like in the future, all the technology is way better. These ships all can warp way faster than the speed of light, and they have like webs they can like hold other ships down with, and they fire all this stuff. But the battery technology is gone. Our batteries are really small, but they can't make small batteries anymore. They lost the recipe over the years, and now every battery is just freaking gigantic. Anyway, that's my rant on battery size. But so you have similar DPS. You're almost at 900 DPS. You still have a pretty fat buffer of about 30,000 that they have to get through, but you're also chunking away at 70 hit points a second, which is no joke, because when you think that, it's like, yeah, you're gaining 70 hit points a second, but you're also cutting their DPS by your armor. So this is actually even more effective than you think it is. This might be the best fit, quote unquote. I'm not sure. This is more susceptible to being neuted out or something like that a little bit. I decided to put some auxiliary thrusters on it since I wasn't trying to get the biggest butt ever. I decided I wanted to be able to go a little bit faster. So we're almost as fast as the hull tank version in this one. I put the explosive armor reinforcer to close that nasty hole. And then it needs the current router 2 in order to use this fit. Like I'm saying, there's probably a way to fudge this where you can just keep the cost a little bit lower. Let's try it together, shall we? Let's try going down to electron blasters, the smallest of all blasters. And we'll just put a bunch of those on there by clicking like mad. Okay. And let's see what that does to our DPS. So we're about 840. So we lose a bit of DPS with the electrons. But man, they're so tiny. So if I take this off, yeah, so you can definitely do this. Come on. You can do it with the current router 1, which brings the price down by a bit. But you lose a bit of DPS off of that. So what were we at before? 890 or something like that. So you're losing almost 50 DPS, and the range on these is also pathetically short. So you really got to bank on getting yourself in there really close. And if you can't get close enough, then your damage sucks. So this will hit. What you do is you add the optimal and the fall off together, and that is the place that you will hit 50% of your shots. So I don't know, 7,072. So within 7 kilometers, you'll hit 50% of your shots. As you draw closer to about 2K, you'll hit all your shots. But the last thing you want to do is be getting in really close, not close enough, missing all your shots, and then just slowly dying. So I don't know how I feel about this, but it definitely is like 20 mil less expensive. I don't know. You can bling these things out. I once heard, and I don't know if anybody can speak to this or not. I might do a video on this as well. I heard that whatever the ship costs, it's beneficial to put that exact, like that same amount worth of stuff on it. That's where it really sits at its optimum level. So in other words, if I have a 100 million ISK ship, I should put about 100 million ISK worth of modules on it. That seems a little crazy to me, but it seems reasonable that could be something like that. So maybe I'm under-blinging this Exequror Navy issue. But again, ships in EVE blow up a lot, so like, I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's your ISK. You got to do what you want with it. But as far as a really beefy little ship that gets in there and blasts people apart, the ENI is just great with blasters. I would assume you could rail fit this somehow. I'm not a huge fan of rails. But I also had a buddy of mine tell me that he thinks medium blasters are a trap. So maybe I'll do a rail fit and come back at you. But these are blaster ENIs. You've got the 3 flavors, just straight up. I have 38,000 hit points. Don't mess with me. Hull fit, I have 45,000 hit points. Try to come at me. And the buffer / rep, where you have only 30,000 EHP, but you're repping pretty big on top of that. And even when you run out of paste, like, so here's the deal with these reppers. This is like a bonus content. Blah, 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 blah. What I do, and I'm not sure if this is correct, but you load them with paste, and they rotate a bunch of times and heal. Then when they run out of paste, if you don't change the option to turn off the auto reload, it'll start reloading the paste like right in the middle of combat. I like to have them keep chugging, because even without paste, instead of 70 hit points, you're still getting 23. Like, at least you're healing. If it runs out of paste and starts reloading, you're getting no healing off of it. So I think it kind of depends on the situation, but there is this option for auto reload. Let me hop in a ship that's capable of this. Actually, hang on. I'll show you what I mean. Not that. Free Tacos. Free Tacos, I think, has an ancillary repper on it. I'll show you the option out in space, and you can fidget with it and see what you like. But let me undock here. Yeah, so this has a repper. This has 2 reppers, an ancillary and a regular, because it's a Exequror Navy issue, so 2 reppers, why not? If you right-click this and you say Set Auto Reload Off, which is actually what I want to do on this one. I didn't do it yet, maybe on this computer or something. If this says turn it off, that means auto reload is currently on. So when this runs out of paste, which it'll do, it'll start to reload. And a lot of times you don't want that to happen, because while it's reloading, you're not getting any reps. So diminished reps have got to be better than no reps at all, at least in certain situations. So make sure you turn this off so that when it runs out of paste, it keeps cycling. You can always stop it and tell it to reload when you need it to. But if it does it by itself in the middle of combat, I found that is pretty much not the greatest thing ever. Okay, so that's my video on the Exequror Navy issue, blaster fit, 3 flavors. Thanks for watching. I hope you made it this far. If you did, please like and subscribe. My Recruit a Friend link is in the description. Use it and I get 1,000,000 skill points, and you get 1,000,000 skill points. And I get some janky rewards that are usually worth ISK and stuff like that. Plus, it makes me feel good, and maybe my wife won't leave me. And then also the link to all 3 of these fits will be in the description as well. You can copy and paste them out of there into EVE and see if they work for you and see if you like them. Okay, thanks for watching. That's all I got for now.